What's up everybody? Today I'm going to give you my thoughts on performance on the Wade 8085 Ultra. Let's get straight into it and start with the retail price. 159 euros or dollars is an amazing price compared to other shoes in today's market, and an amazing price for the insane performance features you get from this shoe. They are relatively similar to last year's model, which is the 8084 Ultra. Of course, these also came without the strap. And before we talk any further about performance, I just want to get into the weight of the shoes a little, because that's something that's been improved in my opinion as well, as the 8084 Ultra comes in at 17.10 ounces or 485 grams, my bad. And the 8085 Ultra is significantly lighter, as they come in at 452 grams, so 30 grams lighter, or 15.95 ounces. Keep in mind, I wear a size 14, so that's why these numbers are pretty high compared to your usual basketball shoes if you don't have a big size or such a big size as I do. With that out of the way, let's get into the on-court performance and start with traction performance as always. Before I say anything else about them, they are freaking insane. They stop so damn hard. I actually tripped the first time I was wearing them. The only time that's ever happened to me was with the Curry line, with their flow shoes, or the shoes that have the flow setup on the outsole. Here, the outsole setup is a mix of Tough RB and GCU. Tough RB has been used by Wade for quite some time, and according to their website, it's 2.5 times more durable than your regular rubber compounds. And so far, these feel extremely durable. And the Tough RB parts are here, the main parts of the outsole, and here in the back. And then here on the forefoot, this little tab right here. Here we can see it a little bit better because we have the Tough RB parts in the translucent color, or in the translucent setups, and the GCU part, so the ground control unit part, is here in the forefoot. The ground control unit is a polyurethane setup that's been used for them for, let's say, about a year, and I think it was first introduced on the All-City 12 Encore, and it worked extremely well. I was a little bit skeptical at first, because it looked kind of weird, because the pattern is very flat. It's not, the grooves are just not that thick and not that steep, so I thought it's not going to be as durable. It was durable, but in my opinion, the Tough RB rubber is more durable. Are these good for outdoors? Definitely. Are they good for indoors? 100%. These have one of the best traction setups I've ever tried, and I know a lot of other reviewers also agree on that. Shout out Coach P, he commented on my traction test that they have the best traction he's ever tried. So I'm not alone when I'm saying this. They really stick to the court like glue. So if you need shoes that have good traction performance, the Wade 8085 Ultra is the pair to get at the moment. The colorways, this is the Lizard colorway, this is the Stingray colorway, and this is the College colorway. You can find an affiliate link in the description box down below, and you can also use the code LucasSimoner10 to get $10 off on the 8085 Ultra, so you can get them for $150, which is an even better price. Big shout out to Wade for sending me these colorways to review for you guys, and I'm going to try to get this review out as quickly as possible, and in general I'm going to try to get my reviews out way more quickly in the near future. Now back to the shoes. Their standout feature for me is the traction performance, but what I actually thought it was going to be is the drop-in midsole. Of course, the 8084 that I showed you before also had a drop-in midsole. They had a full-length Boom midsole. Boom is, of course, Wade's most premium cushioning up to now. Now we have Super Boom, what they call it, and it feels even better. It feels like a super version of Boom, just as the name suggests. It's very bouncy, you get great impact protection, very good stepping comfort as well, and it just really feels like you get a lot of energy back from them. Of course, the flip test doesn't show as much just in terms of performance, but they really bounce a lot, and they really are very bouncy. As you can see, they flip out of the frame, and of course that's not a natural movement that you do when jumping, but what you do when jumping is something like this, and you also get a really nice spring back out of that. So I'm a really big fan of the Super Boom drop-in midsole, and that's pretty much everything we have for the cushioning. As take a look inside the shoe, there's just a footbed there and no more cushioning. It's also a little bit more flexible without the drop-in midsole, but as I said, you won't see that much compression from the outside, but you can definitely feel it right underneath your foot. Just a very, very nice cushioning setup, and it definitely feels better than on the 808 4 Ultra. Just more bouncy, more impact protection, but very important, you're not too high off the ground. You're still relatively low to ground. Of course, it's a little bit more, just a thicker stack height of Super Boom in there. So you're going to be a tiny little bit higher off the ground than on the 808 4 Ultra, but nothing where it gets unstable or where you can't feel the cord as well anymore. Still a great option for quick and shifty guards, but also for some heavier forwards or just bigger guys who need more impact protection. With that out of the way, let's move on to the support features. And I'm going to take this colorway. I haven't shown this one off as much yet. We have some upgraded features as well. I mentioned it before, we don't have this midfoot strap anymore, although there was also a version of the 808 4 Ultra that didn't have it, that had the octanet upper. And here it actually did something for support because it was connected to the midsole of the shoe, or actually the outsole, because of course we had the drop-in midsole. It was connected to the footbed, and it actually added a little bit more support to the shoe. We don't have that here, but we also don't need it. These shoes are very supportive and I felt locked in at all times. I also didn't have heel slip, which I thought there could be because they fit a little bit long in my opinion. They are in general a rather narrow shoe, so you can get the fit out of the way. A little bit narrow, especially in the midfoot area. I have extremely wide feet in my midfoot. If you didn't know that, I usually have to go up to a size 14 US on all my basketball shoes. Because they are so wide, lengthwise a size 13 would fit better. So naturally, a lot of times my shoes are a little bit long, but here it feels like these just have a little bit more space in the forefoot than my usual basketball shoes. So I would go true to size. Maybe if you're a narrow footer, even go down half a size. But I think if you have the same size you took on the 808 4 Ultra, you should be good. And now with that out of the way, that's the reason I thought maybe there could be heel slip when I first tried them on at home. But luckily the lockdown is just so good that there is no heel slip whatsoever. The laces really do a good job of keeping your foot on the footbed and also of keeping your heel nice and locked in. You can tie them down relatively tightly. The tongue is not crazy padded, but the laces also don't cut into your feet, which is always an important thing. And you can definitely wear these with ankle braces. There is enough space to get an ankle brace in there. And as I said, it fits nicely under the tongue as well. Back to the supportive features, what do we actually have for them? We have a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate and a carbon fiber plate here in the heel, so kind of a heel cup. I think we have an internal and an external one, the carbon fiber plate being the external one, of course. And there should also be one on the inside. My bad, I'm not sure if you can hear the siren from the ambulance here in the background. So yeah, a really, really supportive shoe, and also a standout feature. So far, everything about this shoe has been a standout feature. But if I have to rank it, I'd probably go traction, cushion, support. And now for the last performance category, let's move on to the materials. We have all synthetic uppers. Here on the college colorway, we have a little synthetic leather overlay here on the side. Adds a little bit of a premium touch to it. You can also see we still have that carbon fiber plate. We also have it here in the heel, but here there's also like this little overlay over there. And in the forefoot, we have some synthetic fuse or plasticky overlays in the forefoot, just for the case of you being a toe dragger. So that's also very nice. And the reason why these are actually lighter than the 808 4 Ultra is because the materials are way thinner, yet they are still supportive enough. But just take a look at them. They are extremely thin. They are broken in right out of the box, no break-in time needed. You have adequate padding in the heel area. I mentioned the tongue already, not crazy padded, but also not uncomfortable. So in my opinion, they really found the perfect mix of comfort and still keeping them lightweight. Breathability isn't the best. You've got some breathability holes here in the forefoot and also some holes on the tongue, but it just doesn't let all that much air through, in my personal opinion, or from my experience playing with them. I usually don't care for that a lot, so it didn't bother me. But if you really need a lot of breathability, maybe these are not the best option. We'll see. Maybe they'll release some updated versions like they did with the 808 4, maybe some versions for summer, so for outdoor hoopers. Summer season is coming up. So I also really enjoyed the materials, and the colorway selection is just insane. I talked about it in my last shoe rotation video. I'm not sure which is my favorite colorway. All of these really stand out on their own. All red always goes hard. The lizard colorway has some really cool lizard themed details here on the tongue and then this little tab here in the forefoot where there's a small lizard on there, which I think is really cool because the lizard is one of my favorite animals. And of course this lizard skin theme upper here, really dope. But then also the Stingray colorway with those purple bubbles and the blue and white looks so damn clean. Reminds me a little bit of the Kobe Draft Day colorways for the Hornets. So if you're a Hornets player or a Hornets fan, you probably go for this colorway. But overall, as I said, just amazing colorway selection and really good performance. I talked about the fit already, a little bit narrow, run a little bit long, and overall probably the best performer from Wave Weight in 2025 because the Wave Weight 11 and also the 13 released in 2024 already. I'm also planning to release a top 5 of 2025 so far, and you can count on these bad boys being in there. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you've got any questions, just comment down below and I'll try to answer all of them. I'd also really appreciate if you could leave a like, comment as I said, and also subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any further reviews. Have a good one and see you next time.